than 7 months to the August 8th big day this year, a day that we are all waiting for, and of course a day that we are all preparing for. In a short while we'll be discussing the voter registration exercise, but before that, quick comments about the doctor's strike. It's on its 38th day today. Things are getting worse. There seems to be a deadlock. Governors have already started issuing letters, show cause letters, because they'd given an ultimatum earlier this week to striking doctors to either return to work by yesterday or face the sack. We do understand that quite a number of these governors have already issued show cause letters to these striking doctors. Union officials, meanwhile, are expected in court tomorrow. Remember, there are already warrants of arrest against them for failing to honor a court order to call off the strike, but they're expected in court tomorrow. We have to wait and see. But we've seen the president met the doctors, governors have tried meeting the doctors, government officials have tried meeting the doctors, still no way to an end. You are a doctor, Senator Halwale.
Yes.
Surely. Are you seeing any light at the end of this tunnel? Or do we have to have 2 full months of a strike by doctors, really?
When I see the so-called discussions between the government, both national and county, and the doctors, it gives me the impression that they are, one group is at the North Pole, the other one is at the South Pole. The government believes if they use force, doctors will get fatigued because they have no salary, they have no money, and they'll go back to the hospitals. It can't work. The doctors, the people who can succumb to that kind of thing are nurses. But doctors are on very high demand. What's happening is that the people who are paying the price are the patients, to this extent that doctors, the same patients now who used to be treated in public hospitals, like those who require emergency operation, have to end at some nursing home or some mission hospital and whatnot. And because those nursing homes don't have the capacities, these same government doctors are the ones who are going to operate those people. So these doctors are actually making money. So it can go on and on and on. We need to stop. I have a young doctor who works in Naivasha, and he told me that during this strike, the patients who should have been operated in the district hospital are in the nursing homes. He hops from one nursing home to the other and does cesarean sections, 10 of them in a day.
And ends up making more money.
So if he's charging a modest 20,000 doctor's fee, this young doctor is making 200,000 shillings in a day. So they will not get fatigued. The government should just give in. Doctors are giving a sacrifice to remain in public service. They pay them.
So this ultimatum by governors is probably not the right way to go about it.
You know, one of the things which is most saddening about the governors is the whole idea about devolution and this whole new structure of leadership and national values was that we were going to shift the paradigm of leadership. So we were going to use a template of engagement and consultation. And the public participation, new values of leadership. What they have done is to apply the template. They become like colonial PCs, and the worst of all, they have not learned the art of how to either share or grow the national pie. I mean the county pie. So what they've become, they're now using force and intimidation. Some of those governors don't realize that the collective intellect of those doctors could literally vanquish them. The doctors are not their cup of tea. It's not your city askaris and your inspectorate on strike. Those are men and women who understand exactly what they're doing. And for me, I think honor the obligations in total. I think it is important to honor those commitments. They went on strike once, and then what the doctors are trying to do is to avert the possibility of another strike. You know that the strike is up and about. They are trying to avert the possibility of another strike, so that once you go into your full terms have been acknowledged and honored, and then move on. And I think this whole idea of collective bargain is something enshrined in the Constitution. Yes, there was a point at which maybe the doctors' union was said to have acted in excess of the strike being illegal. Notwithstanding, I think there is a need for us to find an amicable solution, because whether there's an order of the court or not, the strike is on. So I think it's important now. These things of issuing letters, sacking doctors from their posts, is foolish. Where then do they get other doctors?
Yes.
You look at them. So if you sack where are we going to get the doctor who's not going to be on strike?
And if I may quote,
if you bring a small doctor, you bring in quotes. Where do you even get him?
if I may quote one of the union officials, he said those people who are threatening to sack the doctors, they look like the ones who will be sacked themselves. But whenever such a situation, whenever the president gets seized of such a heavy matter, we usually as a public expect that yes, we're going to get a situation. But we saw the president, yes, actually took up the issue, invited these union officials to State House Mombasa, but now the situation after that seems to be getting worse, not better.
Yeah, well, I mean, it came out clearly. It was reported by yourselves in the media that the doctors rejected the offer that were given to an increment. And let me say personally, I understand and I sympathize with the doctors, because I know the quest. Doctors take a long time to get trained. I mean, they stay long in college. They do a lot of vital work, and it is important that they get compensation, fair compensation. But then having sympathized with them and seeing and actually agreeing, then also I apply my mind to other facts that I know. I sit together with the two senators here, my colleagues, in the same committee, in the Public Accounts Committee. One of our tasks is to look at how is this money applied in terms of ratio between what governors apply or send to development and to paying wages. And I remember each of us here have made that comment, that if you look at the wage bills at the county level, more than 80%, actually in some counties going to 90% of all the monies they receive goes to wages and salaries. And in fact, we have had sometimes to make very drastic recommendations to ensure that governors don't continue to pay money in salaries wantonly and ignoring that they're supposed to grow the county and develop the county. And so when I apply my mind to that fact, then, logic must somehow, somewhere find its way. And logic here would find its way in terms of compromise. Because if I was asking for the stars and you give me the moon, we must find somewhere where we can be able to meet. Now, these are my thoughts. Actually, in most cases, honestly and literally speaking, if you gave the money that we normally send to the counties now into the hands of the governors, and you applied some of those increments, not only by doctors but other workers, then you would find that probably some counties would be blowing their budget way beyond. They would have to borrow to pay. And this is where reality must come home. That yes, this is what doctors want, but is it available? Do the counties have it?
Would a simple reorganization at parliamentary level in terms of budgeting help?
And probably the way forward, in my view, if I was a sitting governor and I was facing those doctors, or if I was a doctor and I was facing a governor, or maybe the way forward would be to see how would they renegotiate, accept an increment, but forward moving that is long term, that would be probably incremental. Given the fact that, if you asked me for $1 million, I would need to have that $1 million to give you. So if I only have 800,000, I would tell you, let me pay you this 800,000. Then next year I'll pay you another 100, and the other one I'll pay you the other time. Because what Senator Halwale started by saying is very true. The people who are paying the price are the ordinary Kenyans. Yes. Those without any recourse, they have no say in this matter, but they continue to lose their baby children, they continue to lose their loved ones. But interesting, yesterday I received a message from a doctor who had been serving in one of the counties, I think in Meru. And she said to me, Senator, I've been serving in one of the counties, I think Meru or Embu, and I had come home. She's from Kiambu, and I want to say to you that I am willing to serve as a doctor where I am now, or even there, despite the strike that is ongoing. And all I need is to have some understanding. Please introduce me to the CEC Health in Kiambu, and then we can get into some compromise. I'm ready to serve.
So there are some doctors who are still working.
I remember the other day there was a report, a press report, where one of the governors, I think it was the governor of Bomet, who had stormed with some people, some meeting by some union officials in a hotel somewhere, talking to doctors and so on. And what one would want to ask is, I have not got into the nitty-gritty of it, but is there some kind of pressure being applied to these doctors to continue the strike? But the worst that would happen, and I say this as a politician, the worst that would happen is if in any way political interests found their way into this strike.
Is there politics?
Let me tell you something. First and foremost, this whole idea is also lack of appreciation on the part of the governors in terms of what is their most basic priority. That's why when I talk about some of us running for governorship, my number one bullet is the reorganization of budgeting priorities in the county. You know, paying doctors means that you have less money for one or two other things that will touch on the core of maybe public works. That in turn, means that they are contracts for your friends and cronies.
But if you talk about budgeting, then you come back to Parliament.
Reorganization, but they can do the reorganization even at the county level. You first and foremost ask the government how far are they able to meet you in terms of honoring the certain part of those commitments. Then you have a framework in terms of phased implementation. You have the 40% offered by national government, plus another 50-40% where the county can reorganize part of its prioritization. And then on account of that, then you see how you can progressively grow the commitments. What happens is sometimes, for me, if a governor just concentrated on some of the core mandates like health services, water, water sanitation, in terms of the general health of the county, and concentrated on a robust program of public housing, affordable and accessible public housing that gives dignity to the people, and invest and try to have a partnership deed with the county government on matters, with national government on matters education. I think you might not.
I think you've just given us your blueprint for governorship.
You might not have anything. You might not have anything else to do. But let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I think what they need to do, if I was there, you come in with your CECs, your government, and ask them, what areas can we pull out a few monies so that we go then take a supplementary budget and reorganize?
But it should be noted. It should be noted that these counties are actually mid-year. So their financial year is ending in June this year. So probably reorganizing their budgets right now is not that
That's why they say,
possible.
what the doctor said, I had them very clearly. They want at least a framework. If you tell them
how the CBA will be implemented.
How are we going progressively to the CBA?
Yes, Banalola.
I think on the issue of budget, it ties very well with what Senator Amatangi has said, that on the negotiation table, there should be a deliberate effort to confirm to the doctors that we have given you an immediate increment, which is not what you desire, but after the new financial year, there will be a better budget. And should that be the case, then we must appeal to the National Assembly of Kenya, specifically the Budget Committee of the National Assembly, to ensure that the money that they leave at the national government with health, whose responsibility under the Constitution is only on matters of policy, they do not need to give the national government for health the billions of shillings that they do. Like in the last budget, they have given them 60 billion. There is 60 billion just lying at Afya House. Yes. That money, if it is freed and taken to the counties, as Hassan has said, then we shall have enough money around, hopefully, to be able to pay.
But that is for the National Assembly.
That is for the National Assembly.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that you're talking about governors,
and by the way, before you take on, that is the National Assembly. But at the end of the day, the owner of the budget is the executive.
Yes.
So there must be goodwill from the executive that I'm prepared to free this money to go to the county.
In fact, one of the challenges of devolution, and for instance, the commitment I can make with Alwala here as CORD and NASA leadership, is that one of the areas is that we are going to ensure that all functions that are due to counties go there with all the resources necessary. We will not be leaving any any billions here for you to do
for the central government.
For procurement of facilities, 38 billion, which they did not ask for. Me showing up at your house with a flat screen, and you're asking me, Chief, what is it for? I said, I just brought you need one. And then you live in a mud house, and you don't have electricity, and I'm telling you, fix it, and then you pay me in phases, and I'll get you the guy to maintain it. That's number one. And then number two, if you buy containers and mobile clinics or whatever they're called, and you put them somewhere in NOS, here in Mombasa. So what we need to do is, that is a commitment we're going to make, that all functions will follow, will go back to the counties, and the monies and resources will just be left with policy and then the referral hospitals that are only 3: Moi Teaching and Referral, the Kenyatta National Hospital, and the spinal injury.
Okay, in a short while I want us to discuss about governors. Now we're moving away from doctors' strike and matters of health, and we've seen what is happening in your county. Your governor Hassan Joho, his VIP security was withdrawn. Same happened in Kilifi. Even the Kilifi County Assembly Speaker claims that his security as well has been withdrawn. I know you have your own comments about what is happening in Mombasa. We'll be discussing that, but we need to take a short break, and probably after the break we'll be having one more panelist. Our breakfast returns.